Hi, I'm Chantal Gerardy, award-winning Facebook strategist and social media coach. But it has been a bit of a journey. In 2008, I moved to the glorious Gold Coast, Australia from South Africa, Durban. My husband at the time got the opportunity to immigrate with his family. And having fully paid off houses, cars, and businesses, we sold up absolutely everything and moved to Australia. So when we moved here, I had twin 4-year-olds, identical twin girls that were 4 years old, and my youngest was 1 year old. And the plan was that I was going to look after the children whilst he worked in his job. However, in the first few years, he was made redundant, in fact, twice. With no startup capital, no marketing budget, and knowing absolutely no one, I was able to start a business purely by teaching myself social media. And this is not me having any tech background, not having any marketing experience at all, just a will and a want to play on Facebook and to grow a business. One of the things that I absolutely loved about Facebook was the fact that I could do it when the children were playing or when they were sleeping, and I could go on and I could reach my audience and I could build awareness around who it is and what I did. So with knowing no one and having absolutely no marketing budget or startup capital and with no tech experience at all, I was able to teach myself how to use Facebook and grew my first business on the Gold Coast. Not long after that, everyone else was asking me, how the hell did I do it? How did I go from knowing no one and having no marketing budget or experience? How did I teach myself how to use this platform and without paying for advertising? In the first 5 years, my business was so successful that I actually opened a health, wellness and fitness center on the Gold Coast. I had all the subcontractors there and all these amazing clients, but everyone was struggling to find clients. They were struggling to market themselves. They had no marketing budget. They couldn't outsource it. And they were an absolute loss as to where their next customer was coming from or how they were going to pay the bills. So I started to run these weekly meetups. I would bring in speakers so that they could help support the subcontractors. And whenever I couldn't find a speaker, I used to talk about how I had taught myself Facebook without paying for advertising to get more customers. So not long after, I had a huge amount of business owners that were reaching out to me, asking me, how did I do it and how could I help them do it? Because they didn't have the money to outsource. They were using social media in their business or they wanted to use social media, but they didn't want to spend their life online, especially if it wasn't going to generate paying customers. The other myth that they kept saying to me was that it just wasn't possible. You had to do Facebook advertising. However, Facebook advertising costs a lot of money, takes a lot of time, and can be quite an expensive exercise as well as a bit of a gamble. Because social media is primarily governed by algorithms, it's incredibly important to understand how they work. And it's a large part of my program is to teach business owners so that they can outsmart the algorithm with what they're doing. But one of the fundamentals is to get people off social media and as quickly as possible. Because if you leave them on there, we're not quite sure if we're ever going to show up on their feed again. When business owners come to me, they're looking for clarity in what they're doing. They're looking for the confidence to execute what they are doing. They're looking for certainty that they're actually going to get results. And when I talk about results, I don't talk about likes, I don't talk about extra followers. I talk about income producing results, not just ego metrics. Starting a business can be incredibly overwhelming. You may have a will, a want, and an absolute passion for what you're doing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have the confidence to grow and scale a profitable business. Just because we know how to log into our social media accounts or not, doesn't mean we necessarily know how to market a business and get results. And this is why sometimes outsourcing it to your wife or to your next door neighbor doesn't necessarily guarantee you getting results. What about systems? Well, if you're anything like me, you do not want to spend your life online. In fact, you want to get back to doing the things that you absolutely love doing. So we want to do things in the most simple and effective way that's productive and efficient. And that means having systems in place, and we can automate a lot of the processes so that you don't spend your life online.